Ladies and gentlemen, we here at Charted Adventuring have several people that we play with on Sundays and Mondays that haven't seen a lot of the movies and read a lot of the books that we make a lot of references about. So we thought we'd remedy this. One of our biggest offenders is Mr. Marc Bowden, who apparently hasn't seen anything, and it surprises both Kevin and I. So we thought we'd have him over to watch one of our favorite movies that he's never seen. This is It'll Rot Your Brain with Marc. Marc, hi, how you doing?
I'm well, you guys.
Welcome to the show.
Hi,
We're doing
Marc, I'm
great.
Kevin.
Hi,
Hi, Kevin. Nice to meet you.
Hi.
Wait. Oh, hi. Yeah, no, I've seen you
Marc.
before.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh, hi, Marc. That's another movie you haven't seen, huh?
Is that a movie?
He's never seen The Room. Have you ever seen The Disaster Artist?
It's not a movie.
It is.
So,
Just keep listing things
So-
that aren't real things.
all right. So you're younger. You're younger than the rest of us.
Yes.
Most of us. You're not younger than Cody, are you?
No.
How old are you?
28.
28. So I am 10 years older than you. So while I was watching Saturday morning cartoons, you were still shitting your pants.
Yes.
That was like last week.
Yes.
Okay.
We're not supposed to talk about that.
Have you seen any of Mel Brooks' films?
I believe he did Princess Bride. Is that correct?
No.
Strike one.
William Golding, who just recently died.
That's right.
One of my absolute favorite films and books, by the way.
I feel like I have. What is
Robin Hood Men in Tights.
That one I did see.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right.
It's okay.
You've seen Men in Tights.
I have.
Okay. What did you think of that?
It was great.
Funny?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is Mel Brooks' second film.
Okay.
One of the writers on it was Richard Pryor, who he actually wanted to play the sheriff, but at the time Richard Pryor was far too controversial for Warner Brothers to say, okay, let's put him in the lead. So Mel Brooks made him a co-writer on the movie, and you'll understand why. It's absolutely a movie that could not be made again. Mel Brooks,
Not in this day and age.
he trapped lightning in a bottle with this movie. It's one of the funniest films I've ever seen in my entire life,
I'm intrigued.
and that's saying something. So
Sure.
I'm really excited for you to see it. It's got who's in it? Mel Brooks is in
Gene
it.
Wilder.
Gene Wilder's in it.
And that's about the names I know.
There's a lot of trivia that we're going to talk to you about afterwards, after we actually watch the movie. But off the top of our heads, that's basically what we came down to. The movie itself is from 1976, 78,
Yeah, about.
somewhere right around there.
About there.
We'll get it nailed down for you. What's that?
In post.
We'll fix it in post. My God. Anyway, for Charted Adventuring's Dumpstat, this is It'll Rot Your Brain. Are you ready for Blazing Saddles, Marc?
I am. I'm excited. I know it's a seminal movie that I should have seen a while ago, but I just never.
There's a lot of seminal movies you should have seen a while ago.
Look, we're not here to count, all right?
This is one of the seminal comedies you should have seen a long time ago.
Sure.
All right.
We'll nail it down to that.
All right. So without further ado, we're going to get up and watch Blazing Saddles by Mel Brooks. All right.
Yes.
So 1974.
Whew.
How many years before you were born?
16.
16 years before you were born. Mel Brooks, Cleavon Little,
Slim
Gene
Pickens.
Wilder.
Slim Pickens, Gene Wilder,
Madeline Kahn.
Madeline Kahn, who went on to... Gene Wilder and Madeline Kahn went on to be part of the next movie, Young Frankenstein, which actually was Gene Wilder's kind of love child. He had the idea for it and pitched it to Mel Brooks, and Mel Brooks said, all right, fine, basically. Hey, you go ahead, you crazy kids. No, what'd you think of the movie? Blazing Saddles, 1974. A lot of references that probably went way over your head.
You said it couldn't be made today. I didn't realize
it cannot be
how
made today.
real you were being.
Absolutely.
That it started off strong.
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. The racial connotations and the slurs that were in there. The writers that wrote the movie were all across the board. Mel Brooks is well known for making fun of I mean, he did The Producers. He did Springtime for Hitler. You know, that was a whole take on...
You keep making up movies that don't exist.
The Producers?
You keep making
It
up
got
movies that
remade
don't
with
exist.
Nathan Lane and Matthew
real.
Broderick.
One of those people might be real.
Nathan Lane played Timon in The Lion King,
that's
so
a real
you
person.
know who he is. Matthew Broderick was
Ferris
Ferris Bueller.
Okay, I've seen like half of that.
Another movie to add to our list. Ferris
See what
Bueller's Day
happens when
Off.
you like sports? This happens.
So you're a football soccer fan.
Yes.
What's your team?
Chelsea FC.
Chelsea.
Yes.
They played today?
They played. I had an oil change today, during which I was able to watch the entirety of the game. So
Okay.
it didn't even bother me that I was getting my oil change. Just
It took you that long because soccer
hour,
games are what, like
90.
500 hours long?
No, they're.
It's like cricket, right? It lasts for days.
It's not. It's the opposite of that. It's determinate in that fact that it's a 2 45-minute halves plus a 15-minute.
Yeah, but they
halftime.
don't. The thing that bothers me about soccer is they don't tell you. They're like, oh, you know, it's a half, and then they have stoppage time, and they don't tell you what it is until it's over.
Well, no, they tell you.
It's like, okay, it's the end of the half, and guess what? We got another 15 minutes to play. Stay tuned.
Basketball.
ESPN's a ripoff.
That's not. No, that's not true. That's only for either playoff games for MLS or for like the finals of a cup.
There's people with MS that play soccer.
Probably. That's I.
Oh, he said
support them.
MLS.
To be honest, it's more or less the same. The MLS is hard to watch when you start getting actually into real soccer. Just
How dare you?
How's the season ticket holder for the Senators for 2 years? It's slower of speed. Their technical abilities are not the same. It's hard to watch MLS. Really.
Do you think an MLS team could go up against like a Chelsea or a
No, not
Manchester
Chelsea.
United or
No, and
is
they
it
do
a
have
whole different
friendlies.
level?
Yeah, it is a whole nother level. I mean, this was 6 years ago, but when I was a season ticket holder, Chelsea played Man United, and they held them to 1-0 at the half. It was Man United, and then they scored 6 goals in the second half when we started putting in our reserves, so it ended up 7-1.
Good God.
Yeah. It would be closer now, but no, we're not close. We could probably be in the championship, which is the second tier of English football, and hold our own, kinda.
All right. So this is the thing that takes up most of your time. This is why you're not watching movies.
I watch sports.
You watch sports.
I watch sports.
What other sports?
Football. Baseball is my second favorite. Football is third favorite, probably.
Local baseball?
Yeah, Mariners.
You watch Mariners?
Bless my heart.
When
Watch all the slow, boring sports.
Uh-huh.
Come on, man.
Kevin and I, we both used to live in Philadelphia.
Yes.
And we've been to several Phillies games, and that was actually kind of fun.
You sure?
Especially, when you could go and
they
get.
were probably pretty good at that point.
We were there. Well, I was there. Were you there for that?
I was there during one of the World Series championship games.
Did you go to a World Series game?
No.
Did you really?
I didn't get to go to the World. I did get to go.
Did you really?
I was in the stadium when Chase Utley said "World fucking champions" though, for the parade.
One day.
It
That
wasn't
was-
the last game. It was one of the
Yeah.
last ones. So it was
I'm
like
so
at that
jealous of
point,
that.
as everyone goes in, all the Phillies fans, like they're giving out little white towels that you swing
Sure.
around whenever.
Right.
And what you don't see on camera, watching it on the television, is all the white fibers floating in the air from everyone swinging around.
Yeah.
That you're breathing in.
That's what you remember from a World Series championship.
And like I just kind of saw this cloud of white fibers fly across the field. I'm like, that's disgusting.
You could have just used the cloth to cover your own mouth.
Right.
It's just
So,
asbestos, cancer floating in the air.
so back to 1974. What was your favorite part of the movie? What was a part of the movie that had? I mean, did you enjoy it? You enjoyed it? No?
It was a weird movie.
Were
man.
you-
I don't know what I was expecting.
I mean, it's
but I don't know if I was-
2018.
I
Were you
wasn't
not? You
expecting
weren't ready
that.
for it?
I went in blind. I knew
Right.
the name of Blazing Saddles.
Okay. And you knew
that's
you knew
about
Mel
the
Brooks.
gist of, I knew who Mel Brooks was.
Okay.
I've heard the name. That's about the gist of what I knew going in.
Right.
So it caught me off guard a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. It
Okay.
did.
All right. I mean, it does.
It did. It caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting that, especially
Okay.
the first 10, 15 minutes.
The railroad scene.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
They brought. I mean, they brought full circle. They brought back a little bit at the end where like, okay, hey, the sheriff became the hero character.
Right.
But the first 45 minutes came out guns blazing.
Oh yeah, he came swinging.
Yeah, really did.
And he's done that a lot though. I mean, you said you've seen Men in Tights.
Yes.
They make a big deal about Dave Chappelle's character.
Yes.
And
I remember. I was like, well,
Mel
Dave
Brooks.
Chappelle, what? He was an actor before the show. Yeah.
Mel Brooks, in my experience, Mel Brooks has always been unafraid to deal with race issues, the way that people perceive each other. Because I don't think that he sees it that way.
Sure.
Like he
knows they
even
exist.
even way back when. I mean, the guy is what, 90?
Yes,
he's still alive.
Oh yeah, Mel Brooks is still around.
Carl Reiner.
But he's consistently been, your people, and
Sure.
he knows where he came from. He's got Jewish background and everything, and he knows how to make fun of it. He knows how to make light of it, but still tell you, the truth of everything. So Blazing Saddles, like the fact that he paired with Richard Pryor. At the time, Richard Pryor was the guy that was willing to say all the stuff in stand-up that everybody else was like, no, we can't talk about race. We can't talk about...
George Carlson. Who?
This was before... Carlin was around the same time as Pryor, but Richard Pryor really pushed the envelope.
Sure.
Early George Carlin was more observational about politics and things like that. He didn't go much in for like racism and things like that. Richard Pryor went at racism head on from day one. In fact, a lot of the people, Gene Wilder, on the set of Blazing Saddles, kept having problems with people using the slurs that were around there. And Richard Pryor and Cleavon Little, who played Bart, the sheriff, who went on to win I believe it was a daytime Emmy for a TV show, like a guest appearance on the TV show. He also won a BAFTA for Blazing Saddles, which is another arts award, important in its way. Sure. But both of them came to Gene Wilder and said, "Look, it's not you saying this; it's your, your
character." And
that's basically the message they had for all the people that were having to use those words. They were like, "It's not you that's saying it; it's in the context of this show. Your character is doing this."
I don't know that I really understood that ending. If I'm being completely honest.
It was a Mel Brooks ending. It was him making fun of movies in general. Him having Dom DeLuise in there and doing the French mistake and all of that. He kind of wanted the absurdity of it at the end because it did deal with a lot of really serious issues, and it was building up to an ending that was like the ride off into the sunset, but nobody really gets a ride into the sunset at the end.
I'm sure this was 76, so it's
74.
74. Yeah, that's I mean, nowadays it's that's weird, but more charged back then.
Absolutely.
Much more charged.
Absolutely.
So I can see why he would want the absurdity of it.
It was a big deal back then. Madeline Kahn,
the blonde lady,
the blonde who played
Lily von
Stoltz.
You keep saying names that are
so Madeline Kahn is one of the ones who ended up having a relationship with Mel Brooks for a long time.
Really?
She was in the follow-up movie. She was in Young Frankenstein.
She
was in High Anxiety. Well, it was
Young
another Mel Brooks movie.
Okay,
have you seen Young Frankenstein?
No, I have not.
Okay, that's another one on the list, ladies and gentlemen, for It'll Rot Your Brain.
To the hundreds or 200s. Or
I also recommend High Anxiety as one of my more favorite Mel Brooks films because Mel Brooks made this film as like an homage, but also making fun of Alfred Hitchcock.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
It's a horror movie, but it's
comedy horror.
It ripped, like he took the script to Alfred Hitchcock, he read over it, and was just silent the entire time in the office. And he's just kind of one of those like, all right, let's go eat dinner. And they just kind of like left the office. He's like, you didn't tell me, like, let's eat dinner first. And they went to the Brown Derby, and they're just kind of sitting there. Mel Brooks had to shove him out of the office because Hitchcock got stuck in the door. So they make their way down there, and they get there at this. They have their own little private table at the Brown Derby, and it's just the two of them. And the waiter comes over, and Hitchcock has the meal set up already, and it's like a 4-course meal. So a little appetizer, and then the salad, and then like a 20-ounce porterhouse with the sides that go with it, and then like a big sundae dessert.
Okay.
And after they finish it, and they're both kind of sitting there, and they're like, he's just kind of standing there, and Hitchcock has a cigar in his hand. It's clipped, it's lit, but he hasn't like pulled on it yet.
Sure.
He's just, do it again, George. And Mel Brooks goes, do what again? And they just bring the meal right back out again, and he eats it again. He's like, it's a great movie. I love it.
Dear Lord.
Yes, which is why Hitchcock was so fat.
So. He's also before you. You know who Hitchcock is?
I do,
right?
yeah.
Okay. Have you watched any of his movies?
Maybe, probably not.
Should we show you some of his too?
I've always wanted to see birds.
Yes. He tortured Tippi Hedren.
I don't know.
I think it was Tippi Hedren.
Don't know.
Isn't it?
I
He
forget her name,
tortured
but
her
the
for
actress.
take after. He was like Stanley Kubrick
right?
from The Shining.
I've never
He
seen that.
tortured his lead actress so much that she almost had a nervous breakdown.
Oh, no.
It's amazing. I don't want to just show you comedy movies. I know we talk a lot about comedy, and we make a lot of references to Monty Python. Have you seen a lot of Monty Python?
You know I haven't.
Do you have Netflix?
I do.
All right, so the four seasons of Monty Python's Flying
There are
Circus.
4 seasons?
No, there's like
This is
10.
Jeez.
Yeah.
4 seasons of Monty Python's Flying Circus are on Netflix right now.
Yes.
Okay.
That's not the only thing they've done. They've done a number of other movies.
They also have several. There's a couple of the movies are on Netflix as well. I know you don't watch movies as much, so we want to get you out here to do this. To do It'll Rot Your Brain, so that we can show you the movies that because during the Monday games we make references. Me and Kevin especially, and Keith.
Yes.
Keith will keep up with us and make
Yes, he
references. But he's closer to our age group.
Yes.
Like Kevin's only 5 years younger than me.
Yeah.
You're 10 years younger than me.
Correct.
That's a whole different
I agree. I agree with
generational gap there. So there's a
Having
lot of stuff that
generational gaps, both of us.
right.
I agree.
But there's a lot of stuff that I've grown up with
80s.
you're right, that I find hilarious. That you've never been exposed to.
Correct.
A lot of Michael J. Fox, a lot of Michael Keaton, a lot of
He just did Back to the Future, right? That's it. And
Michael J. Fox,
Teen Wolf.
Yes,
he did right. No,
You know what he also-
Secret of My
That's
Success.
not a real movie. Sorry.
Yeah, he's done a ton of stuff.
Doc Hollywood.
Oh my God, Doc Hollywood's great.
Yes.
So
Homeward Bound.
Was he in Homeward Bound?
he voiced it.
He was Chance.
He voiced it.
Was he really?
So
Now you're talking to me.
Right.
I understand that.
So I'll tell you what. Here's what we're gonna do. From now on, for It'll Rot Your Brain. Me and Kevin have had a long-standing tradition of finding a movie that the other one hasn't seen, that we grew up with, that we loved.
Okay.
I showed Kevin The Last Starfighter,
Robot Jocks. Don't forget
Robot Jocks. I showed him Gymkata.
So
And he, in turn, showed me White Lightning, Gator,
and Out Cold.
Out
That
Cold.
horrible movie.
None of these movies are
great.
real.
Oh no, you
These-
would
no,
you would
these-
know Out
these
Cold.
are all movies.
You would know Out.
Yeah.
You should. That's from like mine and your.
So
generation.
he showed me. So we have a tradition of getting together on, say, a Saturday night, and watching a couple, maybe 3, if we have enough time. But we'll watch a couple of movies sometimes.
Oh yeah,
It's our day off, so
I
we'll.
get it, but that's
yeah.
But we'll
Works better with alcohol.
We'll expose.
Believe
Yes,
that.
everything works better with alcohol. A Horn of Ale, Rennell. Horn of Ale.
But,
Anytime you want to come and have a Horn of Ale, you come right on down.
The theme was it was bad movie night. Is how it started.
Sure.
off.
That's what we called it. It wasn't necessarily bad. It was movies that
Good bad movies
that we love that
Sure,
are not
I get
necessarily
it.
great
Yeah,
movies.
I get it. I got you.
Zombie strippers would fall into
That's
that.
not a real movie either. You're
Oh.
just-
Robert Englund.
Our most recent on Thanksgiving, I showed Kevin and my beloved girlfriend Kat the movie Thanksgiving, which is a low budget puppet horror
don't
movie.
say.
We'll save that for next Thanksgiving. I'll invite you over and we'll have a
looking
good
forward to it
dinner
already.
and yeah.
Oh, that was
But
terrible.
but if you have movies that you've seen and you love,
I'll have to think.
that would be appropriate. If you have any that like in particular me, because Kevin might have seen them, but I might not have seen them
Sure.
yet. Bring them up.
Cool.
And we'll watch them, and then we can do It'll Rot Your Brain with Tom instead of with
Tom.
Mark.
That's
Right.
what a
Or
novel
we can,
concept.
or if for some weird reason you and I have seen a movie that Kevin hasn't seen,
I think I'm the odd one out here. I think if there's some weird reason
I-
I've seen a movie that you guys haven't, that's
I think that
There's a couple.
the facts kind of speak for the the former. I'm pretty sure you haven't seen most of what we've seen. In fact,
I would agree with that.
we have another player that plays on Sundays that we're going to bring into this.
Similar boat to you.
Who led kind of a sheltered childhood.
I did.
Did you?
I couldn't watch PG-13 movies until I was 13.
Okay. I used to
So that's
sneak over
part
to.
of it.
I used to
We
do.
always do.
I used to do sleepovers at my neighbor's house, and his brother, who was older, would show us like Nightmare on Elm Street, and then I would run back over to my house in the middle of the night and wake my parents up, and they'd be like, "What are you doing back at our house?" And I'd be like, "I'm scared. I had a nightmare," and they'd be like, "Okay," and I would never tell them.
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
I saw Child's Play. Like
Yeah.
nobody.
I saw the first Friday the 13th when I was 10.
Okay, how
And
that treat you?
it was great. It was an awesome horror movie. Like, oh my god! But I was 10. But it's like I laugh at those things like I wasn't allowed to see PG-13 until I was 13. My cousins had that life.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yeah, why?
Oh no.
Just watch it. It's cool.
When
I'm well adjusted.
When I was a kid, my family, like, when I was growing up, my stepfather and my mother were fundamentalist Christian. My stepfather got it into his mind that Saturday morning cartoons were evil and to be abhorred.
Fun.
I couldn't watch anything.
Yeah.
I couldn't, like, anything. Like, Smurfs. I couldn't watch the fucking Smurfs.
They're evil. They were. They're
I couldn't watch
transcendental.
He-Man. I couldn't watch G.I. Joe. I couldn't watch...
Yeah.
No, this is before Power Rangers.
Before Power Rangers, I can't even. I don't want to imagine
Right.
such a time.
When Power Rangers came out, I was already 12. So at that point,
I was 2.
my stepdad was like, "Well, they're getting into high school." He kind of went like I guess my mom kind of went, "Hey, look, you need to
Yeah.
lighten up. They need their cartoons because otherwise they bother us." And no, I'm just
But I don't think you are.
no,
Yeah. Don't think you are.
But
no.
I love my cartoons,
Yeah.
man. I love
I
my
know you-
cartoons almost as much as I like cartoons, movies, video game, anything that gave me an escape from reality. I used to get into trouble at school for reading.
I did too.
Like that, isn't that like I don't know many people that were like, you need to put that novel down and read the textbook.
Oh, it's or just pay attention. I just read instead of paying attention to
Right,
the class
right.
because I was like, I already know this.
Yeah.
I picked up on this 2 weeks ago.
I'd be in math class
Yeah,
reading
exactly
some
right.
fancy novel,
right, I
and they'd
picked
be
up on
like,
this
"What are
3
you?"
weeks ago.
I
get it.
actually in sixth grade caused a controversy at my elementary school.
A controversy.
I did. I actually got the library staff in trouble
you
inadvertently. My friend had brought me a book from his father, like an actual like adult, like not a kid's novel,
Sure.
like an adult novel. There was actually a movie based on it. I don't know if you
Based
ever.
off you?
No, based on this book that I read. So the book that I read was called Weapon. The movie was called
John Wick.
Solo.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever seen it.
No.
I
have.
I want to say
Bless your heart for saying that.
I want to say Mario Van Peebles,
That's not
but it's probably not right. But it's about this android who was made by the U.S. government to fight some guerrilla group in South America.
Sure.
He ends up getting damaged and repaired by this local village.
About Star Wars now?
No. It's called Solo. It's an actual. I swear to God, it's an actual.
About Star
No.
Wars, though.
No. What? No,
Solo?
Android? No, not Han Solo.
You
Not
just
no, not
Ford
Solo.
repairs a robot.
Not Solo.
That's called Solo.
No.
Talking about Star Wars.
So
You're
listen
fucking
to
pulling one over
listen to
on
what
me.
I'm saying.
Sorry.
North American Spec Ops android
Okay.
gets dropped into South America to fight gorillas.
Okay.
Ends up
Real
getting
gorillas or
like guerrilla
gorilla
fighters.
Gorilla
Yeah.
fighters,
okay,
not silverbacks.
the way you worded it the second time.
No.
You said gorilla, not gorilla.
You weren't. No.
They're fighting
No.
gorillas. They're fighting gorillas.
They might have been. I don't
That's
know.
what you said.
There might have been a gorilla in it.
Gorillas, not gorillas.
My bad.
Right. So he ends up getting damaged and repaired by the village,
Sure.
who ends up getting like taken over and tortured by these gorillas,
The gorilla warfare.
like Che Guevara gorillas.
I gotcha. I'm with you.
And the android basically like goes against his programming to defend this village, and then when the Americans come in to wipe out everybody, he defends the village against the American. The book is, but anyway, so I read this book in 6th grade, and it starts off with a vision of this guy on the shoreline holding binoculars, looking at a yacht that's full of these topless women walking around, and it didn't really, at that age, it didn't really affect me.
Sure.
But it's exciting. I'm reading it. I'm like, oh, this is great because it's, forbidden knowledge. It's stuff that I've. So my mom found out after I finished the book, but then she found out that I had it, asked me where I got it from, and I told her from
The library.
and it turned into a whole thing.
The whole thing.
So from like 5th or 6th grade on, I always got into trouble for reading books.
What was the fallout of that? Did the staff get in trouble?
Somebody got in trouble. I didn't get in any trouble. Like my buddy got into trouble for giving me the book.
Sure.
And I felt terrible about it. Christian, I'm sorry. I apologize, bro. Like, I appreciate that because it got me on the path of, well, it was one of the books that started progressing me through the paces of, books and novels and fantasy.
Have you started the book I lent you yet?
I haven't.
It's still sitting over
It's still sitting there, and I'm kind of disappointed that I haven't read it. But I have an R.A. Salvatore book I still got to read. I'm still almost done with. I'm reading William Gibson's Sprawl trilogy all over again because we play on Sundays, on alternate Sundays we play Shadowrun.
Okay.
So I'm trying to get back into that. And I mean that book. That's
the whole thing.
It's a whole nother thing. And honestly, like between that and then trying to start this podcast and trying to do
I'm on the 3/4 through Name of the Wind and then a Wise Man's Fear.
Right. And is this is part of that?
No, so the Wise Man's Fear is Patrick Rothfuss.
Right. Which book is this that you gave me?
This is the.
See, I don't even remember.
This is Oathbringer, so it's
Right.
Stormlight
Chronicles.
The Stormlight
Yeah. Brandon Sanderson.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
I
a good
haven't.
one.
Are you tired?
Yes. I've been up since 2:20.
I yawned and I mean, I have two, but 2:20.
Poor guy. All right. So, overall impressions. You liked the movie?
I don't know that I could say I liked it.
Did you laugh at the movie?
It had strong moments, and it ended. The middle ending was strong. The ending, I don't know that I got. It brought it back. It brought back, I think, some of the problems I had with it. Personally, I admit again, this is on me. But
did it affect you pretty hard using all the slurs and all?
Affect me is wrong. Like, I mean, it came off strong.
It did.
What it did.
It did.
It brought it back in that they didn't make the sheriff the strongest character in the end, he wasn't at the beginning. So it brought that back in a sense for me. It still was out there. It's an out there movie.
It is. And Blazing Saddles, for what it was, actually paved the way for a lot of other movies to do things that otherwise they never would have been able to do.
Yeah. Yeah. So to answer, did I like the movie? Do I want to watch it again? Probably not.
No,
probably not. To be honest with you, I watched it once. Cool. I don't know that I have much to revisit with it. I do. I'm glad I've seen it though. I'm glad I've been now can say that yes, I have seen Blazing Saddles. I think that does have value. It was an interesting movie.
It definitely was
a different
that.
time. It was a different time. Especially 74, man. That was
74.
That was really recent off of all the other stuff that was happening back in that time. So
coming off of
that was brave to come. Yep. Yeah, I can't imagine seeing that in
theater. And the studio execs at Warner Brothers, there's a story. Mel Brooks got on an elevator, and one of the executives from Warner Brothers got onto the elevator with him. And while they were on the elevator, he said, you can't do this, and you can't do this. And he was telling him this litany of things during his movie he couldn't do. And Mel Brooks said, I just looked at him. I said, of course, sir. You're right, sir. Of course. But Mel Brooks had the presence of mind in his contract. He had final cut.
There you go.
And he kept all of it in. Because he felt it was that important, to put it through. I think that, I find it personally, just for the audacity and for the amazing ability of Mel Brooks, I find it one of the funniest movies that I've ever seen in my life.
I gathered that watching it with you.
I understand how it's uncomfortable for a lot of people, but I understand where Mel Brooks is coming from with it. The first time I saw it, I was like, "Holy shit! What am I watching?"
Yeah,
I was like, I can't.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing here that I can repeat. There's nothing.
Yeah.
There's no catchphrases. There's no. But there is. There's stuff there that makes it worthwhile. Mongo is funny as shit. But the way that Mel Brooks put it together, he knew exactly what he was doing. Mm-hmm. And he knew exactly the statement he wanted to make. And he knew without a doubt that this was what he was going to put forth. And I don't think he ever questioned that it was the right path to take. And that makes me really happy with the state of the comedy world. Because if it wasn't for him, all these other people wouldn't be able to do half the stuff they were able to do.
I could see that.
So,
a lot of people think their favorite scene in that entire movie was the campfire scene where they're sitting around the campfire eating baked beans and farting their heads off.
God, that went on for a while.
That scene is unique.
Yeah.
Mel Brooks, when he was looking for sound effects, anybody that was in the studio, he would go up to them with a microphone and a recorder and record them making these sounds. So all of those sounds that you heard during the movie are people from the studio. Just random gaffers and best boys and all sorts of shit. Like just assistant, everywhere. And that was one of the scenes that exec was like, you got to take the fart scene out.
Sure.
And he was like, oh yeah, sure. And no, I'm leaving that shit in.
For a reason.
Yeah. I mean, because Mel Brooks has a way of weaving like social commentary and absurdity.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the most poignant way was when they did the telegram from Mongo, and it actually had the Warner Brothers, like the Looney Tunes song.
Yeah.
And you've got this movie that uses the N-word and calls calls out Irish people and calls Chinese people like slurs and does all this stuff. And then you have the freaking Looney Tunes sound in there. They got a Looney Tunes blow up gag.
They did?
In the middle of it.
Right smack dab in the middle.
Mel Brooks knew exactly what he was doing. He knew that he was. I don't know. I think that viscerally he knew. I don't think he consciously knew what he was doing. But I think on a certain level he knew that he was changing the way that people thought about comedy. Because after that movie...
Was that his first one?
That was his second movie.
What was his first one?
Was it 12 Chairs or Silent Movie?
No, it wasn't either of those. Damn. You caught me. You might have to look it up. I don't have my phone either.
We're professionals.
No. But it was his second movie. I can't remember. I want to... It's not his third movie was the producers. Anyway, his third movie... No, his third movie was Young Frankenstein. Yeah. After that, he did the producers and everything else. No, his first movie
wasn't as seminal.
No,
was getting
it wasn't as going for
it's
it. It's
impressive, in all honesty, that's only his second movie that he was able to get away with all that. Then,
well, he had done a bunch of stuff before on television.
Oh, interesting. So
he was on
2,000-Year-Old Man. Yeah.
He did the 2,000-Year-Old Man. He made a name for himself before he started getting into movies.
Okay.
In fact, one of the shows that he was on is the basis for the Mongo horse punching scene.
Interesting.
One of the late night hosts.
Was it Johnny Carson?
No, not Carson. It was before Carson. Damn it. I'm sorry,
was
folks.
It Dick Cavett?
No.
Okay.
Anyway, so the guy was known to be a physically imposing man.
Sure.
And the story goes that him and his wife were out on a horseback ride, and his wife's horse started going a little crazy, and he ended up knocking the horse out with a punch.
You can do that at Red Dead now.
Red Dead Redemption.
You can.
Yeah.
You might pay for it, but you can't punch your horse.
You can, but you'll get kicked.
Yeah.
I know he was in It's a Mad, 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 Mad World.
Right.
I know what you're talking about.
So, anyway, I'm glad that we got to show you something. Like I said, if you have movies to show us...
That's a hard ask. I will think about it, though.
Do we have a plan for the next movie you want to show us?
We do. Have you ever seen... And this is another critical, funny movie as far as I'm concerned. Have you seen Stripes?
I've never heard of it.
Okay. So, Bill Murray.
Okay, heard of him.
Classic Bill Murray, right? Everybody knows Bill Murray. Yes. Ghostbusters.
Bill Durham.
What's that?
Bull Durham. I said Bill.
Bill Durham.
I said Bull.
But he's
I had to bring it back to sports.
He's been made kind of a hipster icon lately. They have T-shirts of him.
Who did he play in
Zombieland?
Who did he play in Bull Durham?
He did have a he did have a cameo. He had a cameo in Zombieland.
Yes.
And John Candy.
Yes. And Harold Ramis.
I like
Harold Ramis.
Who's
Judge Reinhold?
Who's Harold? I've heard the name. Who's
Harold Ramis was in Ghostbusters.
Is he also he's the white guy in Ghostbusters?
So Harold.
Yeah, which white guy?
Harold Ramis was the Egon. He was the nerdy guy in Ghostbusters. Harold Ramis and Bill Murray had a very buddy relationship. They were the best of friends until Groundhog Day.
Really?
Yeah.
And then
they had a falling out because Harold Ramis wanted to make it more of a lighthearted comedy. Bill Murray wanted to make it more of a serious drama. Oh, it's a great movie.
So it was Tom Cruise's adaptation of the idea. Tom Cruise had a sci-fi flick with.
No.
It kind of was. He repeated the same day over and over again.
Yeah, but it's not Ground. No. Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah, but then they renamed it. Yeah, they renamed it.
Fight the Future, Edge of Tomorrow.
I
don't know.
It was a good movie.
No, that's not Groundhog Day.
It is.
No.
They relive the same day over and over again. That's the same theme.
Oh man, sci-fi. I'm gonna have to
Same
think
basic.
about that one
It's-
because no, I mean my soul says no, but logically you're right, kind of.
It's a good movie too, though.
It's good. Edge of Tomorrow's good. I mean, Tom Cruise, for all that he's a friggin' psychopath, he's a good actor.
Yeah.
And he fully throws himself into his role. So I like it.
Hence the crazy.
Right. So it'll rot your brain.
Yes. It didn't.
Blazing Saddles, eventually, it will rot your brain.
Yeah.
Because it's a gateway
Sure.
to all the other
So
like
what
raunchy
are we
comedies
watching
out there.
tomorrow? What are we watching next week?
The next time.
Next week is Stripes,
Stripes.
Yep.
featuring Bill Murray
Okay. That's a name I've heard
and
of.
John Candy.
That's also a name I've heard of.
Right.
Bless,
So-
bless his heart.
Bless his heart. Yes, John Candy's gone, not Bill
Yes,
Murray.
yes. No, not yet. Knock on wood.
Knock on whatever you want. He's still dead.
Not Bill Murray though.
Not Bill Murray. Not yet. Although if Zombieland 2 goes through like they said it was, I don't know.
Zombieland was a good movie.
Zombieland was a great movie. It was good. It was very good. I liked it a lot. I like the whole like the Twinkie obsession.
That was good.
Other than, although it was Woody Harrelson, so shouldn't it have been weed obsession?
Probably.
I'm just saying. Anyway,
I wish I could jump as high as Woody Harrelson.
how high can he jump?
It's as high as a. I can't say that. Well, maybe I can now that I watched the movie.
No, you can't. No. All right, folks. For Charted Adventuring's Dump Stat, this is It'll Rot Your Brain.